Hey Harmonizers, here is another video of Smurf. So this time it's Allie working with him and gonna ride him. Allie's been a student of mine for a couple of years and hasn't done too much with other horses now that she's been part boarding the same horse Glimmer for a long time. But she said she'd help out with this little fella, keeping him going for me since I'm pretty busy with Evelyn these days. So here's a little look at her doing a little bit of flat work, a little bit of trotting. In his other video, we did it bitless. And then in this video, we decided to use a bit just to kind of show that he can go both ways. I think when we've got horses in for training and we're working with them, that it's valuable for them to be able to have different types of equipment on them, to go with a bit and go without a bit. Just makes it more versatile. The way I see it is the more educated we make our horses, the better they are at potentially going to have a good home in the rest of their life because they're good, solid citizens and able to do different things. So even though I prefer riding bitless most of the time, I recognize that most people use a bit and need it for a competition. So we do both. And then here's just a little look at some transitions with him using the bit. He's pretty good, carries himself pretty nicely most of the time, looks really good and carries himself underneath himself and has a little bit of an uphill movement, which is nice. And just practicing the transitions, making sure that he's super comfortable. And then we thought we would give a test at doing a little bit of a jog. So this is kind of asking him to do a really, really slow little trot. And we did that in both directions, just kind of playing around. So that way, he can be a little bit Western or a little bit English. He definitely has like kind of an Englishy kind of look to him, just the way he carries himself. He's pretty uphill, which is pretty nice that he's very balanced. But here's a little look at a little Western jog that we got going on for him. He was a little bit like, what? Why are we going so slow? But he was pretty agreeable and pretty willing to give that a try. And then Allie lets him move out a little bit more there. We get going with him and we're going to get into some canter work in a second. So we do a lot of different transitions and we do some circles and we work on our steering, and with our contact we try to keep our hands really nice and soft. And beautiful little canter transition there. And this was Allie's first ever canter on him. So he's got a really nice way of picking up his canter. And that was her first time giving that a go on him. So we were pretty happy with how she did with that and how he was doing. And we never know when we get on the horses if they know their leads. Allie sometimes gets the right lead, sometimes gets the wrong lead, but she can tell if she's getting the right lead or not. But Smurf ended up picking up the correct lead every single time. He knows his leads and knows what he's doing. So that's pretty nice. Allie's doing a little sit canter there on him and just kind of riding that out a little bit. Allie was pleasantly surprised that he's actually pretty smooth to ride. So she was pretty happy with that. And then I asked her to play around with the canter transitions a little bit. So that was a little walk canter transition. And then I asked her to do a downward transition. So we want to practice seeing if our horse is pretty equal in whoa and go, and doing a little back up there, and just trying to practice seeing how responsive he is to the various cues. And some horses tend to be a little bit more lazy, some a little bit more go-y. He's pretty nice. Like, that's a really nice transition up in there. And a lot of times it does make a difference about the rider. Like if the rider has a little bit more of a go butt or a whoa butt, that can make a little bit of a difference. Or sometimes horses can just kind of tell if people don't really want to move forward. If they're like hesitant, then they don't tend to move out. Allie is a pretty confident rider. So usually the horses can kind of pick up on that a little bit, and then that makes them a little bit more in tune with the rider as well. So I'll get asked with horses, do they do this? Do they trail ride alone? Do they jump? And sometimes I think it just depends on who's on their back. Allie and Smurf seem to get along really nicely. She got some beautiful transitions, both leads, and was just doing some really nice work. And this was her first time doing cantering with him and is doing really, really well. So with her, she's doing really super fantastic with him. and working on those downward transitions. He definitely does not have a sliding stop or anything like that installed, but he's pretty easy to stop and pretty agreeable. And you can tell we use positive reinforcement with our horses. He's looking back there saying, is that cookie worthy? And that's just something that we do with all of our horses. We think it's kind of nice for them, especially because we've got different riders getting on horses all the time. Just to reward horses, give them their paycheck for showing up to work. It's a little bit nicer for them than just expecting them to work for nothing. We find they're happier and work harder if they get rewarded. So that was a nice little halt canter transition there. And then as she comes to do the first canter circle there, it was a little imbalanced coming through the corner, kind of caught him off guard, I think. And she does the circle again, and it looks more balanced there coming around the corner the next time. So he's pretty easy to maneuver at the canter, at the trot, pretty agreeable to what's going on. And then we did a canter circle up in the other end of the arena for the left lead, just kind of riding him all over the arena. And there's lots of stuff in our ring, and that's one of the things that I love when we're training horses and we're helping people figure out whether or not a horse is potentially for them. Our arena has so much stuff that we can really help build horses' confidence and kind of see what a horse is really like. And Smurf is pretty awesome. He doesn't ever really look at the side of the arena. He's been really, really brave with all of the different things, and we keep it all very different. So we never keep it the same all the time. Sometimes there's bridges there, and then that will be changed in a week's time. So it all varies up depending on what other people are doing. So I took a little look at him doing some little jumps, and this is Allie's first time ever jumping him as well. So we just kept them little cross rails, little verticals, just to set her up for success, being her first time doing some jumps on him. Now he is about 14.3 hands, so he is too big to do the pony. He's not going to be able to do the pony hunters or the pony jumpers. So we're not selling him as a like jumper or hunter show horse or anything like that. His height makes it such that, you know, he can go around a little course of jumps and he's a good little fella, but he's not able to do the pony divisions. And then he is a small horse, which makes it a little bit tougher for him to do the other like more open divisions. But he's a pretty good little fella, goes around, goes up and over the jumps, pretty tidy with what he's doing. So we're pretty happy. I really think that he would do really well with someone who just wants a horse that can do a little bit of everything. You know, he packs around the jumps pretty nicely. He definitely does not run off with you or anything to the jumps. He kind of takes you to the jump a little bit, and he's so good with the obstacles. And we also take him on a little mini trail by himself towards the end of this video, so you'll get to see that as well. So I really think that he'd be perfect for just kind of somebody who wants to do a little bit of everything, and you know, he'd be a really great little fella to go around and do a whole bunch of stuff with. And we really let the horses kind of tell us what they would be well suited for. And he really seems to enjoy doing the obstacles. He's very brave with the obstacles. So we had quite a few in the other video that I did, so we're not going to do too many in this video, but just wanted to show a little bit of backing up on the tarp and able to go forward. He's just a pretty smart fellow, learns really quickly, and really brave with that kind of stuff. So we decided to take him out on his first mini trail. We still have very hard ground and some ice and snow in some spots, although it is starting to go away. So that's a chicken coop there on the left that he's walking by, and he's never been out here before. This is all brand new, other than when he arrived at our farm in the parking lot and walked into the barn. Other than that, he's never come trained out here. This is his first time coming out here, period. And first time obviously for Allie, taking him out as well out here. So we're going by all the cars and different things, and he's really good. He didn't call or whinny to any of the other horses, and even with the traffic up ahead, he stayed brave and moving forward. And as we come out into this area, there's actually no other horses in view. So I just kind of spin around just to show you that there really are no other horses that came out with us on this little mini trail ride that we're doing. and he walks out pretty nicely and pretty eagerly, because we were getting a lot of questions of, will he trail ride alone? And so we felt comfortable giving it a try. Some horses, I really find that it does matter who the human is, because a lot of times I can get a horse to trail ride out because I ooze a lot of confidence. And so even though Allie's taking him out, never done this before, he's never been out here before, if we put somebody who is really nervous on him, they might not be able to get him trail ride by themselves, because you have to be a leader for your horse. And that's something that makes a big difference with horses. So, but he, for his first time, very willing to come out here. She's stopping to give him a cookie there. And there's the traffic that's out here. And so she's taking him up a little closer to where the traffic area is. And you can see, it's a highway, big trucks and stuff going on. And he didn't even look at it. He was looking off something else in the distance. So we took him a little closer to the road and kind of walked him around on the little grass area there. We didn't want to go too far just because the footing isn't super fabulous. And there's a big hill there that you can see. But we wanted to just take him out, get him away from the barn and all the other horses, where he can't see anybody else and where there's traffic, and just kind of test him out a little bit. So we're pretty excited about that. And I'm just going to spin around and just show you guys that there really is no horses within view. So he came out here and he's not calling or neighing or doing anything like that. Some horses do take a little bit of work before they can get enough emotional confidence to be comfortable with this. So we were pretty happy that the first time we brought him out here, that he's just like, okay, can I have a cookie? Or like, what are we doing now? So with that in mind, we just test him out a little bit more, going over the snow and stuff like that. But otherwise, we're really happy. Look at all that traffic going by, and he's just like, whatever, doesn't really care. So we're pretty happy with all of that. So we're bringing him in, and he's going around, and he's a little aware. Like you can see he's got a bit of an expression where he's aware of what's going on, but he definitely doesn't do anything bad, and he's definitely not upset by all that traffic. So the other big question that people always have when they're potentially interested in a horse for trail riding and pleasure is, what about around dogs? So we're going to come over to my backyard where I've got my corgis in the backyard, and they're going to come bouncing up and barking around, and Smurf has never come by this area before, never come by the dogs, never been down this driveway. We didn't walk this way on our way out. We walked on the other side of the driveway that goes over to the arena, and he was awesome with the dogs. So Thorgy's barking a lot, and he was totally good with all of that. So we're really happy and impressed with him. I feel like he's definitely ready for a new home to enjoy him doing whatever they want to do. So he's a really good little solid fellow, and I hope you guys enjoyed seeing little Smurf and the things that we tested him with.